All wings report in.
HouseDog, standing by.
MotherGoose, standing by.
Lowtech Tuck, standing by.
Lock S foils in attack position. Animal Squadron ready for battle.
Well, hello there, and welcome back to the Animal Squadron podcast. I'm one of your hosts, HouseDog, and with me, as always, he is the only host I've ever needed, the only one I've ever wanted. I'm glad the other guy's not here. It's MotherGoose.
Hello, everybody. You miss Tucker. You know it.
No, I don't. I'm glad he's gone, and I hope he never comes back.
Yeah. And Mac translation, that means I'm really sad. I miss my buddy. I wish he was here.
Nope. Glad he's gone. You know what? I've wanted to talk to you about this, actually. I think the show should go back to just being you and me. I miss those days, and
we're just gonna
long for them again.
We're just going to kick him out while he's not even here to defend himself?
That's how I would prefer it, yes.
Well, this is a democracy. You vote he leaves. I vote he stays. I guess we'll just have to be in a tie till he comes back and can make his vote.
Tuck said that I get his vote in any matters regarding voting, so he votes himself out as well.
I'm going to need to hear from that. I'm going to need to hear Tuck confirm that before...
No, you can just trust me. Don't ask him.
Hey, I love you, but I do not trust you. Not even a little bit.
He's just going to say that he doesn't know what you're talking about or that that's not true, but it's true.
Yeah, he's too nervous to admit that it's true.
He doesn't remember whenever we made the deal. He was so drunk and filled with illicit drugs.
I don't think that counts.
Well, the piece of paper that he signed does, so.
Well, you know what? You show me the paper. Lift it up. Let me read it.
It's in a safe.
Yeah, of course. Well, hey, today we're here talking about Andor, finally starting our Andor review. Today we're talking about episode 1, Kassa.
Just in time for Andor season 2 to come out this month.
Just in time. This is probably going to be a long series because we'll do each episode individually. There's 12 episodes in this season, probably 12 in season 2. So that's at least 24 episodes of Andor we're going to be doing.
That's like years.
Half a year, if we can stay focused. Will we stay focused? We'll see.
Going to be Andor for the next 6 months of my life.
Yeah, we'll probably take a break for Tales of the Underworld. And Visions. We'll probably do a Visions episode as well. So before we get into this review, I am a little worried about Season 2. Specifically, a rumor came out recently that Andor was supposed to be 5 seasons, and they cut it down to 2. Now, when you consider the other rumor that we've gotten for season 2, that like each arc there's going to be like a big time jump between them, it does make me a little worried that like each of the seasons got cut down into a single 3-episode arc. But also, these may just be rumors and not be true at all. But it does have me a little worried.
Well, the rumor mill is always heavy.
Yeah.
And people love nothing more than to say rumors.
Right. And people want to spread negativity. As talented as this team is, they probably, even if it is true, they probably still did an amazing job with season 2. There are so many series that got their seasons cut and they had to rush to end it and it didn't end up being great. I really hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I don't either. I think they're probably just rumors. And if I don't see Andor being 5 seasons. I just don't think you could squeeze that much juice from that lemon, man.
Yeah, especially, it starts in 5 BBY. So, that's only a 5-year time period.
Right. Which isn't that long in Star Wars, really.
Right. Getting us into this actual episode, what did you think?
I forgot so much of Andor. I mean, given I've only watched the first episode today, but I completely forgot that the show starts out with him looking for his sister. Like, I completely forgot that element of the show. I don't remember whenever that plot gets resolved or if it ever does.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be waiting for that if that ever happens this season. And I also forgot it. I think going from something as like lighthearted as Skeleton Crew and then going straight into Andor, I was like, this is really dark.
Right?
And that may just be coming from the children's show of Skeleton Crew to the very dark, gritty world of Andor, which it was kind of a breath of relief. Like, it kind of, the first, like 5 minutes of Andor kind of gave me the dark, edgy Star Wars that I needed from Skeleton Crew that I never quite got.
Yeah.
Yeah. Starting off, I was like, I wasn't quite sure how I was going to like it because I forgot that it opened with like Tron, basically.
Yeah.
Not the original Tron, but the one they came out with, what, mid 2000s?
Mm-hmm.
Early.
Tron Legacy.
Yeah. I want to say that was like 2009 or something.
Yeah, I forgot that it started in like a cyberpunk-esque planet as well. Just to bring up Book of Boba Fett a little bit, they tried to go a little bit of cyberpunk in that one with the like biker gang.
The Mod Squad.
Yeah.
Those weren't bikes, those were scooters.
I don't think they did too great there. But this city did cyberpunk so well. Like that initial opening shot where it like shows the city, and they had the lingo down, primo, corpo, the aesthetic of everything. I really loved it.
The synth music playing in the background the entire time, which I was like, this feels very Tron heavy, and I didn't really like it in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then kind of as the episode went on, I started to enjoy it more. But yeah, I completely forgot how dark this show was from the very beginning.
I would genuinely love a Star Wars series or movie just on this planet, just exploring the, like, what cyberpunk really looks like in the Star Wars universe, and not just, a quick 5-minute segment.
Just watch Book of Boba Fett again.
Yeah, the Mod Squad.
Just get the Mod Squad, the children with their scooters.
So, something else I really wanted to talk about is one of my biggest complaints, and when we did our 2025 Looking Forward episode, I went on a long rant about the lack of aliens in the series that I ended up cutting most of that rant out of the episode. There were way more aliens in this episode than I remember.
There's one in like every shot almost.
Yeah, I know. It's like even background characters. And I'm just sitting there like, is this just like a first episode thing? And, as the series goes on, there's less and less? Or was I just stupid and wrong? Which probably the second one.
To be fair, you haven't touched Andor since the first time it came out, right?
Right. And I know like the prison arc, there's not any aliens, but like his home planet, I genuinely thought there were no aliens on there. And we saw so many on the planet just walking around. So I'm eating my words. I was wrong. I'm sorry.
I just think you hadn't watched a show in probably over a year, which you probably, because you're the sick little dog you are, injected Andor into your system every time it came out.
No, Andor's the one series that I didn't necessarily do that with. I watched like the first half pretty consistently. Then I stopped watching and I binged watched the rest a little after it was over.
I actually think that I finished Andor before anybody did.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you were.
Yeah, because I was telling you that you had to get to the prison arc because you were like, I don't really know if I'm enjoying this that much. And I was like, please just get to the prison. Please. I was like, once you get there, I was like, the rest of the story carries itself out. I was like, you just have to get to the prison, which I can't wait for that. I'm looking forward to rewatching that so much.
Same. Which I know this isn't supposed to be a review of Andor as a whole, but this first season it's a really slow burn. But that payoff with the prison arc, and then the like very last arc where the Empire comes to their home planet. It's so worth it.
Yeah, I just like the prison. That was whenever like I finally invested in the show. Maybe this second rewatch I'll feel differently, but I didn't really enjoy the first arc. But who knows? Back to episode 1. What did you think of him just murdering that sentry guy?
Right? It paralleled Rogue One so well, of him killing the other guy so he could escape the stormtroopers. I thought this was a really great way to start the series.
I was also thinking today, which we can come back to the execution in a second, but I was thinking about the Force Awakens trilogy, the Rey trilogy, how everything has had to kind of answer questions for that trilogy. And I know this is a prequel series, that this is set before A New Hope. I know that. But
yeah,
characters and worlds that they built like have to now be built into the galaxy at a later date, which Andor came out after that trilogy, so they still had to answer things. Like one of the aliens that we meet in the city is one of the ones from that trilogy that I don't know what they are, but I remember it very vividly from, I want to say, Force Awakens. They're like those really big, stocky ones that have the robot arms. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm talking about? It's like one of the very first shots whenever we get to his home planet.
Is it Phoenix?
Ferrix?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what guy I'm talking about? It's like the load lifting, like yellow arms. Mm-hmm. But they're robotic arms. And I was like,
I actually rewound because at first I was like, is that an alien or a robot? Because I first caught it, or I first paid attention to it from like a shot where it's walking away. So I rewound and, saw that it had, like, it was an actual alien. So yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, I want to say that's from Force Awakens. And so like that was kind of cool to see, because I do think, I've said this other times too, but I think they're getting better about not fixing that trilogy, because what has been done has been done. But I think saying this is how we got here, I think is always improving. And I think those little things like aliens that we saw one time in that trilogy pop up again, even though it's a prequel show, is good.
Yeah, that was one of my biggest complaints about the sequel trilogy, is that it focused really heavily on new aliens and original trilogy aliens there weren't many prequel trilogy aliens in there. There were a lot of things that it was trying to do to separate itself from the prequels, which I don't necessarily agree with. But I completely agree with your point. Adding these like sequel exclusive aliens into earlier projects in the timeline, I think is going to help make for a more coherent story overall.
Yeah.
Man, so much happened in this episode. E2 emo?
B2? B?
Oh, B2 emo. Yeah.
This is one of the rare points that I have not wanted a small child or droid to die after meeting him.
Really?
I like B.
I'm so proud of you.
I like B, and I'm sad that I still have a decent memory, because I know his story is just going to get more depressing as we go on through this show, and I'm not ready for it.
Real. No, I love him as well. I loved him in this episode where he's like, I have enough power to do one lie, and Cassian tells him what to lie about, and he's like, but that's 2 lies.
We've talked about it before, but there's like a Star Wars recipe almost for whether you're doing a show or another movie. Like you have to have the quirky little droid and the whatever archetypes and everything. But I feel like B kind of stands on his own. He's not trying to be R2-D2. He's not trying to be 3PO. He's not K2. I never really liked BB-8, so I don't ever bring him up.
Yeah, BB-8's okay. Oh, what is Cal Kestis's droid?
Oh, yeah. I like him too.
Oh, BD-1. Yeah. I would die for BD-1. Disney, give me one of those guys.
Yeah, the thing I like about B, though, and I think they made the correct decision in giving B a voice instead of just having him do little squeaks and chirps and everything, you know? I think that was a really good move.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, I like B. He's a funny little guy.
I actually forgot that he got his own voice. So I was pleasantly surprised when he started talking this episode.
Yeah, I did not remember that he talked either.
Yeah.
And he got peed on.
Oh, yeah.
He got R.
Poor
Kelly
little guy.
by the dog in the street. And then he shocked him.
Yeah. Good for him defending himself.
Yeah.
I want to talk about stuck-up guard guy whose name I totally know.
Oh, the corp guy.
Yeah.
I like him. I think he's another one of those characters in Star Wars that we talk about all the time where it's like, you know, who would you be in Star Wars, or like who do you think you would be in Star Wars? This guy is one of the characters that people would actually be in Star Wars.
Yeah, I agree. It's Cyril Karn.
I don't think we've learned his name yet, though, in this episode. They just call him, like, what is it? Junior deputy or whatever?
Yeah, I think so. So, I don't necessarily like him, but I think he's incredibly well written.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like, he's disgusting and I hate him and he's a little dweeb. But
Yeah.
he is, that guy, one, great writing for a character, two, great acting by an actor for that character. Because you can tell he played it exactly as it was written. But there's a difference between reading a script and playing the character as how you're supposed to, and like becoming the character and playing the character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can tell this guy played that character very well.
I totally agree. And like pretty much everything that goes wrong in this series is because he just couldn't let it go.
Yeah, what do you think about that whole debacle with like the big boss and him in the office whenever we first meet him?
Yeah. I think clearly the big boss, like, morally, is he in the right? Probably not, but he genuinely is trying to protect his planet from the Empire's oversight. You know, he knows that the brothel shouldn't be there. He knows the guards shouldn't have been drinking, or specifically drinking on company time. They were drinking something that's illegal on the planet. Like, he knows these illegal activities are happening and that they're the lifeblood of his planet's economy. And if the Empire finds out, it's going to hurt the planet overall. So I think his heart is in the right place.
The junior deputy.
I'm talking about the main deputy.
Oh,
Who tells
main
him
deputy.
to back off. Yeah, like, again,
Yeah, he tells him
morally-
to back off because he's about to go to a conference. And if he actually reports that two guys just got murdered and that they were drinking on the job and in a brothel, he might lose his position. You're right. There's absolutely no morality to it. He's just like, we can't have any problems in this report. So you're going to make sure that whenever I give this report, there is no problems because I'm going to get laid off, which means you're going to get laid off because you're not getting my job, buddy boy.
Yeah. No, and I really think that, yes, he is trying to protect himself, but I do think he's trying to protect his planet and their economy from the Empire in his own way.
Yeah, maybe not necessarily the right way. The moment that I really love between the two of them is Cyril's standing there and he's like making little comments about the report and everything. And the boss just kind of like looks up quickly from it and then back down at the report. And he's like, have you modified your uniform?
Right.
And the guy's like, a little bit, just some piping pockets and a bit of tailoring. And the boss looks is like, he doesn't even look up. He's just looking at the report and he's like, this guy's so gross. Like,
Yeah.
he's such a nerd.
Right. Yeah. And you know what? He is a nerd.
He is absolutely to a T. Like, this dude got shoved in lockers whenever he was at Star Wars school.
It's okay. Me too, buddy. Me too.
Yeah, you never got shoved in a locker.
I have, yeah.
Not our lockers at our school weren't big enough to shove someone in
It
a locker.
was before I moved to
Oh, yeah.
our
See, you're fine.
shared high school. Yeah.
Yeah, see?
I didn't exist before you met me.
No.
Yeah, exactly. I just popped into existence that day.
You just spawned.
Yeah. But no, this guy, you can also tell that he, like, lets the power go to his head a little bit because he maybe isn't the nicest to his coworkers.
Well, that and is on the boss's way out, he's like, hey, don't put your feet on my desk whenever I leave, which means, hey, I know how you act when I'm not around, so don't act like that. The morality is, of course, in question of turning this case into something, you know, that wasn't true and actually trying to figure out what happened and investigating all of it and whatnot. But as soon as Boss Man leaves, he's like, all right, I'm running the show, and immediately starts like running around telling people what to do, threatens to fire people if they don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then those three other characters that all work next to each other. I love the guy eating the noodles.
Yeah.
And they're talking trash on Cyril as he's walking up. He's like, one of them mentions, like, they already heard about him trying to fire that one dude in, like, the videotape room or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, I heard he just tried to fire somebody. And I think it's the noodle guy. He's like, can he even do that? Like, it's kind of like in The Office, how as soon as Michael leaves, Dwight, you know, thinks he's no longer the assistant to the regional manager and is the assistant regional manager.
Right.
And tries to take over the office every time. That's pretty much who this guy is. This guy is Dwight.
I'm so glad you said that. Yes, he is Dwight.
He is Star Wars Dwight.
Yep. No, and I'm so glad you brought up morality because I think it's kind of hard for us as audience members to remember that most, like, the general population did not know all of the evil things that the Empire were doing, right? So this guy probably believes the propaganda that the Empire is good and just and righteous, not knowing that they're, you know, putting people in concentration camps.
That was never proven.
Well, not yet.
Show me the camps, Elijah. Show me the camps.
You're talking about Star Wars camps, right?
Who even were the Geonosians? That place never existed. They were never a species.
I heard Jun. My heart panicked.
Oh, no, Geonosians.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I guess the Geonosians are in Star Wars because the Geonosians, as soon as they did everything for the Death Star, the Empire literally gassed their entire planet.
Killed them off. There's what? A couple survivors total?
There's Click Clack and the Egg.
Yeah, the Geonosians did not make it to the sequel trilogy.
No, they were in Clone Wars and then never seen again.
Yeah.
Wait, no, it wasn't Clone Wars. It was Rebels. It was Rebels.
Yeah, when they
That's
go
where
to...
Click Clack was in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they have to get some, like, generators or something.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what it was, but let's see. Oh, the flashback chapters from him as a child.
I liked how that first one, how it bled into it with B saying Cassian and it slowly turning into his name on Karani? Canarai?
Let me see. I'll find
Who
it.
am I? But yeah, it bleeds into his, what we can only assume is his sister calling him Kassa.
Right.
Which is his, like, true name.
Kanari. I know you brought it up originally, but I completely forgot about the sister subplot.
Yeah. And I don't remember when it gets resolved or how it gets resolved or if it does in this season.
Right, that's what I was thinking. I don't know if it does get resolved.
I don't either.
Probably a season 2 thing, or we're just forgetting.
It's been a while.
But I like that they do these little flashbacks in the Andor episodes. I mean, today's episode, we didn't really get a lot. I mean, we get that they're not as advanced as the rest of the galaxy. We meet his sister. A ship goes down, and they go, like, they set out to go search it. That's
Yeah.
really about it.
They put together like a hunting party of children,
Yeah.
which is, I'm like, there. It looks like there's adult age people around here. Why are all the children going?
Oh, I didn't even see any of the adults. I was going to suggest that maybe it's a weird society where they abandon their children until they grow up. But yeah, I guess I just missed them.
I might be wrong, but I swore I saw some like older looking people, like not any like grandparent age people, but I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe it is just a troop of children.
Yeah. But yeah, I like him. And I think it was a good way to help flesh out his backstory.
Mm-hmm. It was a good episode 1.
Yeah, I think so.
It raises questions, but it's not boring.
It's the show don't tell, you know. They could have easily fallen into the trap of someone just looking at the camera and going, well, Andor was born on a primitive planet, and he was found by this lady who brought him out.
I don't know what you're talking about, Elijah.
Yeah, what am I talking about? We've never seen Andor before at all. Well, talking about Andor, we learn a lot about his character throughout this episode. Like, he is very good with ships. He owes people money.
He owes many people money.
He owes many people money. He gets one of his buddies to lie for him about where he was.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this was a great episode in terms of establishing Cassian as a character and who he is.
You know what? Actually, back in the day, whenever we first started, we would talk about, shots and sound a lot today. One shot that I thought was, it's not really that incredible or anything, but it's whenever he gets back to the planet and we're kind of going through the town with Cassian as he's like making his rounds trying to cover up his murder.
Yeah.
Double murder. Well, one was manslaughter, one was murder.
Right.
The shot of the gloves on the wall, I don't know why, but I really loved that. The way it was framed and kind of how the scene moved around it until that's right before he starts talking to Brosi. I don't remember that guy's name either. I'm being bad today. I only remember the droid's name.
Mm-hmm.
But it's right before that scene. It's just kind of framing the city square a little bit.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Brasso?
Yeah, Brasso, thank you. Yeah, just that scene in that shot where it's leading up into that, but it's a shot of the wall with all the gloves on it and everything kind of moving around the city. I don't know why. I was just like, I was watching it and I was like, man, that is just a really great shot.
Yeah. I've said it before, and I will probably say it multiple times throughout this series of us reviewing Andor. Andor is, I think, the most beautifully shot Star Wars project ever.
Interesting.
Not that the others are bad. There are fantastic shots in all of the Star Wars project, but you can just really feel the love and care that went into this series.
And then, I guess kind of moving through the show, after he talks to Brasso, he goes and talks to Bix. Well, in between Bix and Brasso, he gets stopped by that one guy in the alien. And I really like this situation that he finds himself in. Mm-hmm. Because, Andor's not Han.
Right.
Where Han always tries to talk himself out of it and it never works. But Andor talks himself out of this.
Yeah.
And gets out of the situation clean. Because he just pits the two guys against each other.
Right? I love how he handled this big alien dude where he's like, you don't want to do this. And the alien's like, yeah, he's just paying me to stand here.
Yeah, and he's like, you've lowered yourself to working with him? Like, come on, man. Like, you're better than, we both know that you're better. You deserve more than this. Like, why are you being muscle for him, man? Like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that moment was really interesting as well.
Yeah, it was probably one of my favorites in the entire episode. I think just because, it's such a serious episode like we talked about earlier, having that little bit of funny haha I enjoyed.
Yeah, just a little bit of levity.
Yeah, a little breather from the seriousness.
Which B was good for that too, I think, a little bit.
Yeah,
Because
I agree.
first 5 minutes were so dark, and then that flashback was kind of dark, and then B comes in, and he's not really making jokes whenever, he's talking about that's 2 lies. It's just more of like droid talk.
Yeah, he's being 100% serious.
Yeah, but it's good for us as humans to kind of have a little bit before we get back into that seriousness. So the balance, I think, for this episode was really good too.
Yeah, yeah. And then he goes and he talks to Bix.
What do you think of her?
I like her. I think she's an interesting character. I think their interaction was really good, especially like you can tell how desperate Andor is. Like he's been playing it cool this whole time, but he breaks a little bit during their conversation.
Oh, 100%. He's practically pleading.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought for a minute, like in the beginning of their interaction, I was like, oh, this is going to be the love interest for
Right.
Andor. Like, okay, cool. And then it's not. I like that they kind of turned that around. And I like the jealous shop owner, Tommy, and his name Tommy.
I think so. Coming in to check on what they're talking about.
Yeah, like he interrupts their conversation out in the garage by like being like, hey, we've got that thing tomorrow, or are we gonna do it? Like you can totally tell that he's just going back there because Cassian's back there with his girl.
Yeah.
Who's not his girl.
Right.
That line, whenever Cassian's leaving and Tommy like stops him and tries to like bulldog him a little bit, and he's like, every time you come around here, she gets upset. Why is that?
Yeah.
And he's like, it's not me, bro. She's just that way. He's like, if you don't like that, you should find a different girl because she's not going to change.
Yeah.
He's like, she's tougher than both of us. Tommy's like, I'm tired of everybody saying that.
Tim Carlo's his name.
Maybe he calls him Timmy.
He may call him Timmy.
I think he did call him Timmy. Or I think he was subtitled as Timmy.
Gotcha. Let's see. There's also the scene with him at the ship, changing, what was it, the navigation?
ID chip.
ID chip, yeah. Which, again, he's trying to cover all of his bases so that he doesn't get caught.
What did you think of Pegla's dogs?
I kind of like them. They're the same ones that peed on B2 Emo, so, we have beef there, but...
Right.
I thought they were cute. I really like how... I think they were physical props.
Yeah.
So the way they moved looked almost stop motion-like.
I don't like them. I think they're the same species that were in Solo. Remember the dogs from Solo in the beginning? Whenever Han's running away?
I think so.
I think they're the same, and I don't like them. I don't know what it is about them I don't like. Which they used actual dogs in Solo. I know that for sure. And they just put little costumes on them. That was probably what they did for this too.
Yeah. I'm looking through the episode trying to find the dog. Yeah. Yep. You're right. Those are the exact same dogs.
Well,
Big brain.
You get them right sometimes, man.
I'm trying to think. Is there anything else with this episode that we haven't touched on?
I think just the Bix going up the comm tower at the end.
Oh yeah, and the mystery of who she's talking to.
The contact. Well,
Yeah.
the whole reason why Bix and Cassian get in that argument and he kind of just leaves is because she finds out that he's been holding out on her.
Right. I really liked his line though when she calls him out on it, and he's like, "Yeah, but you've been cutting off the top."
Yeah, you've been skimming off the top. She's like, "You've been holding out on me this whole time. How would you do this to me, Cassian?" And he's like, "Listen here. I wasn't holding out. I was saving it for a time that I needed it. You've been skimming off the top. So let's not play, little angels here."
Right.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. That was a great line.
Mm-hmm. I think I didn't watch the episodes initially when they first came out, so I think I'd already had it spoiled who the contact was.
Oh, really?
Yeah. What were your thoughts, when you first saw the episode?
I didn't quite know who they were talking to.
Yeah.
And I didn't really have any. I don't think it got spoiled for me. It's been so long. I can't remember. And I can't remember if this came out weekly or like
Or by arc.
2 episode drops.
Yeah.
I think it was 2 episode drops. I'm not entirely sure. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
If it was weekly, then I think I did okay. Yeah. Oh, wait, no. Okay, so they did. I think I do remember now. So they released the first 3 episodes same day.
Okay. Makes sense. The same. It's all one arc.
And then episode 4 was released a week later.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like weekly releases. Yeah, weekly releases for every time after that.
Nice. Okay. Question before Andor season 2 comes out. I know overall they're kind of. This series isn't featuring a bunch of cameos, which I'm happy about. We are going to see the Death Star guy from Rogue One.
Director Krennic.
Yeah. Any other cameos you think might appear? For
I just saw the season 2 poster, so.
Well, let me.
Elijah, stop. You little crack addict. I swear, people. He's terrible. He's terrible.
I have to see it.
I was looking at research for the show and casually mentioned something, and this guy immediately picks up the needle.
Gotta get that hit.
He's sick, folks. Remember, for just $1 a day, we can save up enough to send him to rehab. Because he's sick. He's sick, folks.
Okay, looking through the posters, I'm not seeing anyone I didn't know about. My prediction, just because of kind of the timeline of this, I think there's a chance maybe
To see
we
Vader at the
Thrawn.
end? Oh.
Oh, I could see us seeing Vader.
Yeah.
This is leading up to obviously the creation of the Death Star and Rogue One, the Rebels finding the plan, and Thrawn's opposition to the Death Star, and thinking the money should be focused on the TIE Defenders.
The TIE Defender project, yes.
Yeah, I think that could make a really interesting internal conflict within the Empire for this series. Just to show that the Empire's not all on the same page. I doubt it's going to happen, but that's something I think could work.
I mean, Thrawn was cast in Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know when production for Andor Season 2 started. I have no idea if it was after Ahsoka or not.
Yeah, I can't remember either. Well, I think that's all for today, folks, unless you have anything else, Milky.
I have an Ahsoka rumor, if you want to hear it.
Tell me.
That apparently the father, son, and daughter have been cast for Season 2.
Oh, okay.
It's just a rumor I saw, but I thought of you.
Interesting. I wonder how they would work that out with what happens to them in the Clone Wars.
Death is just a part of the Force, my friend.
Yeah. I could definitely see it being Force magic they're back. I could also see it as flashbacks to, like, Peridia before the Night Sisters left to our galaxy, or the Star Wars galaxy.
Apparently there's a bunch of Anakin flashbacks and a bunch of young Ahsoka flashbacks as well, so...
Hell yeah. This is the way.
Apparently we're getting Ghost Obi-Wan and Ghost Yoda and Ghost Qui-Gon too.
Hell yeah. That would be awesome.
Just rumors. Who knows?
Anyway, thank you, audience, for being here, for listening. If you want to be a part of this conversation, you can email us at animalsquadron@gmail.com. Again, that's animalsquadron@gmail.com. And if you could leave us a review wherever you're listening, that would be amazing. For the Animal Squadron, this has been MotherGoose.
All the OGs, none of the losers that came later.
None of the stinky, smelly, cool baby boys.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.